if you'd be okay having just a 5-minute one-to-one afterwards with a nice person.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool for you?
I don't.
Cool.
You tell me what to do. I'm here. We'll hang out.
Excellent. Well,
let's kick off with the first most obvious question. Are you excited about being here at the London MCM Comic Con? Are you enjoying yourself so far?
Yes, this is my first time here. Not in London, but at the convention. So actually, it's been really wonderful. Everyone's really nice, and I have time to have one-on-one with the fans, and that's been really awesome.
Have you had any memorable fan encounters, either here today or other events you've done?
Well, today there was a teenage boy who could barely speak, and he was really sweet. Broke my heart because he was nervous. But then in San Diego, that Comic-Con, actually I had a woman propose to me. So that was probably the most strange, but...
I think you have to tell us a little bit more about that. What happened there?
We were doing the Nikita panel, and they had opened questions to the audience, and so one woman just stood up and proposed. That's about it.
Tempted?
I wasn't, but it was very flattering.
When you do meet fans, what other kind of questions do they usually fire at you? What's the most common stuff people want to ask about?
People always want to ask if I do my own fighting or stunts, and people want to know how I kept the secret from How I Met Your Mother for so many years. I think those are the two questions the most.
So that's that question's done.
Yeah.
But you can ask too, it's okay.
We'll start with keeping the secret. How hard was that?
Well, when we shot it, so 9 years ago, we signed confidentiality agreements, David and I, who plays my brother, and it was kind of strange because it was a brand new show, and people hadn't really seen it yet, and I didn't know it was going to be I knew it was going to be a successful show because it was so great, but I didn't know the secret was going to be that crazy because we didn't know how many years, how many seasons it was going to take to come out. So it could have been like the next season, or like it was, and almost 10 years later. So more recently, by the end, I was really flooded by a lot of people saying, "Come on, just tell me." So that's when it got hard, but it wasn't that hard.
How much training did you have to go through for Nikita?
Actually, the funny thing is nobody asked me if I could do fighting or stunts when I got the job. So I was kind of just thrown into it. So I didn't really do any training except when I got there. We had a great stunt coordinator, and his name's Teek Fong, and he taught me a lot kind of as we went along. I come from a dancing background, so luckily it wasn't the physical aspect, and learning choreography was really easy for me, but it was just a different style, so it took some time to learn that stuff. Also, fighting for film is very different than whatever that martial art type is in real life, so it was also learning how to fight for the camera angles and stuff. So I kind of just learned as we went.
It's obviously quite a serious show. Was there any sort of lightheartedness on set?
Oh yeah, all the time. You have to be when you're saying someone assassin killed some, it's just ridiculous if you don't laugh all day long. So yeah.
Any particularly memorable things?
No, I just feel like there would be situations where we would be freezing outside and we had to look like we were just oh, whatever. And then it would cut and we'd all be like this, and their teeth were chattering and stuff. We had some really cold night shoots there.
Is there any particular episode
Can I get a water? Sorry.
Is there any particular episode that was your favourite or was the most challenging in Nikita?
My favorite and the most challenging was, I think it was season 1 or 2 when I played future me and Alex, because we kind of had to decide what she would be like in the future, not just physically what she would look like, but this idea of her one path that she could take. So that was kind of fun. And then technically we used a camera because I'm in a scene with myself. So technically we used a camera that I had never used before, and it's basically you shoot the scene as one person, and the camera is locked and it goes like this on the dolly, and then you have to do the exact same thing as the other character, and you have to act against yourself, which is not there. And then the camera is in a locked place and does the same thing, so the film layers like this. So it was really strange and unusual, and challenging, and I absolutely loved it. It was really cool, especially to see it afterwards, and you're talking to the air, and then to see it afterwards, it all makes sense. So it was great.
How do you feel about how the show ended for Alex?
I loved it. It's kind of unfortunate that the season was so short, and we kind of had to rush it at the last minute. But I really feel like the writers did a good job of trying to get everybody, all the character storylines kind of finished. So with that being said, I was really happy that Alex has had a lot of terrible tragedies happen to her, and I was really happy that it ended with some happiness, that she's doing charity work and is in love, and
That's really good.
there's actually something good coming up for her. Yeah.
Had you seen the original La Femme Nikita before you?
Oh yeah, the film?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
And the TV show, or the?
I have not seen the TV show, no, but the film I'm a huge fan of. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Has Luc Besson ever had any contact about what's going on in the show? Or does he just go away?
No, he wouldn't even comment on it being made. So I know that he's aware of it, but I don't think he. We're doing our own version of it, so I can understand it's his idea. So I'm sure it's like your own little baby. You want to feel protective of it. So I get it.
Is there any other character you could have played in the show you would love to have done, male or female?
On Nikita?
Yes, Nikita.
I would have loved to do Burkoff. That was a great role. I love how they wrote for him. Aaron Stanford did such a fantastic job, which, by the way, he's doing 12 Monkeys for Sci-Fi. I'm so excited about. And I don't know, they did a really good job at bringing comedy into his character. So that would have been fun.
What's next for you then?
I just finished a movie called Moments of Clarity. That's a film about two unusual friends becoming friends, two unusual girls and finding each other. It's kind of like Thelma and Louise meets Juno, to describe it, and it's got a very unique sense of humor and a lot of heart. And this woman named Kristen Wallace, it was her first film. She wrote it and starred in it with me, and she's really fantastic, and I'm really excited. It's in the editing room right now. And I'm about to start production on a film called The Escort, where I play an escort.
And I have to ask, how are you preparing for that? That must obviously be quite a challenging role, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's challenging, and it's strange because the character didn't come from an abusive past. She's not a drug addict. This is a high-class escort, so it comes with its own questions of, why this woman would choose to do that to make money. And so I've watched a lot of documentaries on women that are very expensive escorts, and all about their life. And I don't know, it's a really fascinating world that I didn't know anything about.
What surprised you the most about that world as you've been researching it?
I was surprised by how many women were so proud of their job. And then I kind of realized that I was judging them, and I was able to see a little bit from their point of view of their job and what they were proud of, and that they enjoyed it, and that they were just so free with themselves. I don't know, it was a very fascinating point of view, and I'm really excited to play that part.
Talking about other fantastic stuff you've been involved with, obviously Kick-Ass was a huge global success. Why do you think people did latch onto that so much? Because it seemed to be a little bit different from what we've seen from the superhero genre, I guess.
You're right, it is a very different superhero movie. I think it's, it wasn't a huge, it was a huge movie, but it wasn't one, it wasn't Iron Man, it had a little bit more of an independent feel to it. And I just think that Aaron plays Dave so well, in the sense that he just seems like an ordinary kid. I just kind of feel like people have something more to relate to. It's like this just regular kid from high school that likes to read comic books and wants to change the world. It's such a sweet, endearing idea. And Matthew Vaughn is such a brilliant director, so I really thought it came together fantastically.
What makes Matthew such a brilliant director? Because he seems to be doing brilliant things with everything he touches at the moment.
I mean, my experience with him was that he was very precise as to what he wanted. And I think he has a vision in his head and he knows exactly what he wants to do. So I don't think that there's no confusion, you know? And it's an incredible crew as well, that people that he works with a lot. So it's a well-oiled machine.
And what about Aaron? I mean, obviously a massive rising star at the moment. What is it like working with him?
You know, when we had done Kick-Ass, I knew that his career was just about to explode. He's so talented. Accents, and you know, he comes off in Kick-Ass as your average teenage American kid, and in real life he's a very sophisticated British, you know, smart man. So his range is incredible.
And I mean, obviously the film's packed with great moments, great lines. Are there any, either of yourself or other characters in the film, that you're just a massive fan of, you just smile every time you see?
In the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, Hit Girls, all of her swearing is just so fucking funny. I mean, it's just amazing. But I really like at the last moment when Dave and Katie decide to go do it in the alleyway. It's pretty funny. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things that you wouldn't expect people to have just said. You're like, wait a second, what?
I mean, like you say, I mean, Chloe, I think, was in many ways the breakout star. I mean, her career again going up. I know you didn't get to spend a lot of time working with her, but what was Chloe like? Did you get to hang out with her? And I mean, because she seems so wise beyond her years.
Yeah, and she really is. You know, we didn't have a lot of scenes together, but we obviously saw each other a lot here, and we shot here. But yeah, she's very mature for her age, and I started acting when I was her age as well, so I saw a lot of similarities as to, you know, being that young and having your mom on set, and just, it's a very exciting age to start working. She's done well.
Make this the last one, please.
Okay, I was just going to say, what's been your favourite role today, and why?
Gosh, I don't think I could pick one. I think that they've all given me something to learn from. I guess Nikita was the longest, so, you know, almost 5 years, 4 years, so I think that one maybe is closest to my heart and the hardest to let go of, but I'd say they all are great. It's a hard question. It's like saying, what's your favorite movie?
Okay, thanks very much. Oh, actually, go on. Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, in Moments of Clarity, the two young women are obviously very different. Who do you think you compare to more, and why?
I actually am more like Kristen's character. Kristen plays someone who's very optimistic and very girly and always smiling, and you know, I'm much more like that in real life, and I tend to play more serious. My character in that movie is a lot more dry and sarcastic, and it's kind of how Kristen's character lightens her up, and vice versa. So we kind of in real life are opposite.
Thanks very much. And if you'd be okay, just do a quick
Yeah,
5-minute
Apologies,
chat.
I'll just move this in actually.
Absolutely, yeah.